Hi there, it's Denise Eckert, and I love coming on here and sharing different techniques to help you build a happier and healthier lifestyle. And today I've got Dr. Njideka Olatunde, and she's a visionary and creative energy behind Focus on Healing Wellness Institute, pain relief educator, advocate, and ambassador for pain caregivers and the people with chronic pain. Welcome.
Thank you, Denise, for having me. I'm looking forward to sharing with your listeners.
Now, what inspired you to get involved with pain relief?
Well, that's a good question. One of the things that really inspired me more than anything is the fact that we were going through the opiate epidemic crisis. And during that particular time, I had lost a lot of colleagues, a lot of friends and family related to having severe pain because they had run out of being able to get their prescribed medication for pain. And so then I started looking at the key components because I did reflexology, and I started looking and focusing on that as an element in terms of relieving pain using the power of touch. And that's how it kind of evolved with me getting into relieving pain as an alternative to the opiates, but using what we have in our hands, because all of us have healing power in our hands.
Okay, so now how does the touch work with pain?
Okay, here's a prime example. Think about when you hit your elbow, the funny bone in your elbow. Now, what's the first thing you're going to do?
You grab it.
No, but what's the first thing you're going to do?
Ouch, and you breathe and
Yes.
stop breathing.
The first thing you're going to do is you're going to make a verbal response. And that verbal response is a message that will be sent to the brain, trauma and stress in the area. Then what's the next thing you're going to do?
Well, I usually, I could swear or whatever, hold my breath, I notice that, and then grab the area.
Right. So then the message goes to the brain to touch the area. And as soon as you touch the area, the message goes to the brain, send the body's natural pain relievers to the area that's in stress. And that's about the power of touch. So touching activates the body's natural forms of relieving pain. And so a little bit in a nutshell, the concept of touch and pain relief.
Now, for someone that's listening and that is in pain, what are some steps that they can do to relieve that pain?
Okay, the first thing, let me lay the foundation for this.
Sure.
When we talk about pain, one of the things we never associate with pain is stress. Stress and pain go hand in hand with each other. And so when you're in pain, it's a result of what medical community has even said, illnesses are a result of stress. So when we're in pain, we're dealing with stress, and stress is something that has happened outside of the body that we bring inside and internalize. And once we start internalizing it, it goes to areas that may be weak inside the body as a means of trying to eliminate and come out, which is not the normal channel. So the end result will be pain. When we're talking about pain as it relates to the power of touch, we're talking about relieving pain first based on understanding the stress factor, because we got to remember that when you first get pain, always gives you a warning. So first you'll get a little small incident. Oh, that's not too bad. I can deal with that. Then it comes back again, a little more intense. Oh, this is a little bit uncomfortable here, but I'll get through it. And then the body says, I gave you 2 warnings. You didn't pay attention. So now I'm coming back full force. And when I come back full force, what I'm doing now, the pain is now unbearable for you. And so now, which leads to heading for a form of disease or illness. So if you think about the stress factor and that connection to the pain, and then you can start looking at what is it I need to be doing to relieve stress first so that I don't get into the pain factor. So that would be what I would suggest in terms of, we're talking about a mindset thing. Look at what's going on when pain hits you. Something has happened, and you have to retrain yourself to start thinking, was it because I'm changing jobs? Is it because of there's problem in the family relationship or something? You've got to start thinking and connecting that with why you're not feeling in the best of health.
Yeah. You know what? I talk about stress a lot in our bodies. And I always give that example of when you're in a car and you have that near miss accident and you just tense right up. And it's our bodies living with that kind of tension.
Yes.
Our bodies are in the fight, freeze, or
Yes.
flight mode, and we're not healing.
Yes.
We're not healing. Like if we have an ailment somewhere else in our body, it's being ignored because we've got so much tension and stress in our bodies.
Exactly.
Now, why is stress and pain connected in diagnosed illnesses?
Okay, first of all, if I share with you my concept, in my practice, I focus on relieving pain first before treatment. Now, what that means is when someone comes in to me, just think about it this way from a business perspective. When you go to the store and you have your mind sit on something you want, you know exactly what you're going to get when you go to the store. The same thing about us as practitioners. When somebody's coming to me, they're coming to me for one thing only. They want relief from pain. They don't want to hear nothing else. That's like kind of irrelevant. The thing is, I'm in pain. So what are you going to do to relieve my pain? That's what I'm here for. So when I say relieve pain first before treatment, what I'm talking about is I'm doing the one thing that most people don't really get that kind of time, and it's called listening. I'm going to spend time first and foremost listening, because what I'm listening for is I want to hear the stress connection, because once I hear that stress connection, now I know how the stress is connected to the pain you are experiencing. And then we move into what's going to be what I call relieving pain using the power of touch, which my technique and expertise is in reflexology. So reflexology is what I would use as the therapy to relieve the pain. Now, what I have done is the first point of touch was listening. Then the second point of touch is the physical hands-on. Now that they are experiencing some relief from pain, the next step is to look at how do we go to the integrative approaches, which means that there's no one therapy that does it all. It has to be integrated. So we'll look at, is your pain a result of maybe you need acupuncture, maybe you need chiropractic care, you may need massage therapy, or you may need nutrition. You may need to get into a breathing, a meditation session. We look at all of that in terms of dealing with the body holistically in relieving the pain, because the one thing you have to remember, where you're feeling the pain is not the corporate. It's someplace else in the body. That's just the outlet.
How and what kind of touch helps pain and stress?
All kinds of touch helps pain and stress. We only think of pain from a physical perspective, but touch happens for us mentally, physically, and emotionally. And so When we're talking about using touch to relieve pain, this is a way you can do it. There are two most powerful words that can heal. And those two words are thank you. That's a form of touch that heals. Just being able to say thank you to someone who may be not feeling so good, and just hearing those words uplifted them. That's a form of healing. Another form of healing can be giving somebody a smile when they've been in a negative space all day long, and then somebody just took time to just smile at them. Or even saying a word of inspiration to lift somebody's spirit or lift somebody's mood. That's a form of touch. Those are the things that we have within us that we can use that brings about touch in a way that's positive and healing. Another example I like to use, think about driving in a car and it's bumper to bumper traffic, and all of a sudden somebody just gives you enough space and then you raise your hand as a form of saying thank you. You don't know how that may have lifted that person's spirit and made their day. It's these things that we talk about as being the power of touch in healing.
Wonderful. I see that you do a lot of work with touchology. So can you explain touchology?
Touchology is the science and art of using your innate hands-on ability to relieve pain using your hands. Touchology focuses specifically on hands-on approaches. And hands-on approaches could be, like I say, chiropractor, acupuncture. It can also be yoga. It can also be Reiki. It can also be breath work. All of these things are forms of touchology. Touchology is the medication-free alternative to relieving pain and restoring wellness back to the body.
Now, what's your success rate with someone like with a back problem or back pain?
We've had a lot of success with back pain in particular. That's the number one pain problem that most people are going through. And like I say, you have to begin with starting with mindset. We have to focus on mindset first. So in the mindset process, what we're doing is we're working on you changing the way you think about your body, changing the way you connect it with pain, and changing the way that you empower yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally to be responsible for your healing and wellness. Because one of the things that I do with my clients, I say to them, if you understand your automobile, the automobile is designed as a carbon copy of the body. It operates the exact same way. When you're told that you bought this car in X number of miles, you're supposed to take it for maintenance and all of that, the body requires the same thing. It's called physical maintenance. And I'm going to add another piece to it. You need to also have mental maintenance. The mind needs maintenance. So we're talking about the mental health piece added to the physical health piece. All of these components are a part of your wellness. And when you start taking responsibility for that, now you are doing the one thing, connecting with your body so that you are well aware of what's going on with your body as it relates to pain, as it relates to stress, as it relates to anything that you are going to need to help you in the healing process. And to add to that, in working with my clients, I tell them, you've got to change the way you work with your practitioner. And you have to do that by not treating your body like it's an automobile. When your car breaks down, you say, okay, well, the check engine light is on, or I'm hearing some clanking here, and you tell it to the mechanic. The mechanic automatically understands what you're looking for in terms of solving the car problem. You can't go to the doctor and say, I got this back pain that needs to be relieved. What's the doctor going to say to you? The first thing they're going to say, well, we need to do some tests. Okay, now while you're waiting for that, but in the meantime, here's a prescription that you can take to address the pain problem. But we don't know what the pain problem is, but I'm giving you something for your pain problem while we find out what's going on with why you're having pain in the back. What you need to do is understand your body so that when you go talk to your physician, you can talk from an educated point of view in terms of where you've done your homework, you've done your research. So these are the little small things that we teach our clients in terms of not saying give up your doctor, not saying you have to stop the medication, but be informed. And that way you are in control of your healing process.
Yeah, I actually was listening to something where it was North American Doctor, where she just said when she went to school, what they learned to do is just look at the symptoms and then try to figure out a pharmaceutical to get rid of the symptoms, and
Yes.
actually never ever looking at why the symptoms exist, which is really scary.
Very much so, because like I say, the one thing that conventional and allopathic medicine is top of the line in, and that's diagnosing. They're good at diagnosing, but when it comes to treatment, that's a whole nother topic of conversation. But they know how to diagnose. And once you get your diagnosis, what I tell my clients, now we got to look at the body systems. We have 11 systems in the body. Look at the body systems. So say you go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis that you have hypertension. Okay, automatically you're going to think of what? The heart. And then you're going to think of the circulatory system, the cardiovascular system. So with that, knowing that much, your next step is, well, what in my cardiovascular system and circulatory system is causing problems for my heart that I now have the diagnosis of hypertension? Is my heart in need of me exercising more? Is it in need of me doing cleansing? Is it in need of me doing some deep breath work? These are the things that we need to look at so that when we talk to our physician, we're talking from the standpoint of what do I need to strengthen? What do I need to improve so that I can maybe not have to take so much medication for this particular health problem, or I can cut back on some of this if I know what I can do. That way you're showing that you take care of your body. You care about your body. So that's one of the things you want to think about and focus on in terms of, as I say, taking back control of your body from pain and stress.
Absolutely. So for someone that's listening and that is living in pain, what is the first step, first tiny practical step that they can do right now to make a difference in their lives?
I love that question. And I'm going to show your listeners a little something. But before I do that, I want to let everybody know who's listening. Everybody has done and experienced reflexology, and you don't know that you have. If you can go back and remember when you were a child, or you as a parent of a child, this is a little activity that you did, and it's reflexology. It's called This Little Piggy. When you did this little piggy, and you're circling the toes and moving them backward and forward and around, the toes and your fingers are where the nerve endings to your head are found. And so when you activate those nerve endings, what you've done, and you'll see it in the babies where they'll get, like they get real happy, or they may start relaxing and they may even go to sleep. you have activated the relaxation from the head nerve endings found in your fingers and your toes. So now you know this little piggy was your first introduction to reflexology. But what I tell anyone in terms of get in the habit of doing this, with the palm of your hand, what we do is we have what we call a thumb walking movement. So you take your thumb and you bend it up and down. You do this kind of, and so on the palm of your hand, you take your thumb and just walk across the palm, all the way from the base of the fingers all the way down to the wrist. Get in the habit of doing this. Whenever you start feeling stressed or tense, just walk the palm. You can even do the same thing for your fingers. You can walk the fingers and you can walk on both sides of the fingers. That right there, you don't know exactly the nerve ending, but that activates all of the nerve ending bodies to get into relaxation and de-stress mode. That way, because the body cannot heal itself until it's in a state of rest and relaxation. And so that's your first step in terms of relaxing the body. And along with that, remember to deep breathe. Take deep breaths, breathe, then do the stimulation, breathe, do the stimulation. And this will start calming the body down. And that's your first self-help tool in terms of relieving pain.
Now, with the breath and the stimulation, what do you mean by stimulation?
When I say stimulation, I'm talking about stimulating the nerve endings in your hands so that message can go to the brain, because the nerve endings are the center point to the brain in terms of delivering messages throughout the body, no matter what's going on. So just by activating those nervings in the hand, you're sending the message to the brain. Start sending the pain relief endorphins to flow throughout the body to bring about rest and relaxation.
Now, I understand you have a free poster that's available to our listeners. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Most definitely, which I tell everyone, it's an African tradition about when you come visit someone's home, you bring a gift. And so my gift to you and your listeners is I have a poster. It's called the Pain and Stress Relief Medication-Free Alternatives in Relieving Pain. So it's a poster that will give you some pointers in terms of the various practices that are medication-free that you can look into in terms of if you're looking for some alternatives in relieving pain without medication. And all you do is you go to touchology, reflexology.com and download the poster.
I love that. So we're going to wrap this up. So what are the final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with the audience today?
First of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me to be your guest. And I thank your listeners for spending this time with me. And the one thing I would say to all of your listeners, when you wake up in the morning, always wake up in thanksgiving, giving gratitude. Be thankful. Wake up thanking yourself. Wake up thanking the universe, because that sets the tone of your day. If you wake up giving thanks, and then always remember that the power of touch heals all.
Wonderful. So whoever's listening, I will be putting her information wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. So if you have any questions, just feel free and ask your questions. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was amazing information, because you know what? A lot of us live in pain. And I mean, if we can make a change with that, that is just so amazing.
Thank you.
So leaving you a gentle reminder to slow down and enjoy life, and I'll see you in the next episode.